Hello everyone, today is July 27th, it is Thursday, 8:13 a.m. Welcome to another episode of Crypto Wars. There's actually some pretty big news out today, if you've been paying attention. Pay attention. So, the owner of BTC-E is kind of in custody, he got arrested. You see these big headlines like $4 billion money laundering fraud, $100 million fine. It's actually really big news in the space. But the way I see it though, it's like a problem, but it's not, okay? So they got fined. I'm sure they're gonna pay it. Now this is the real story of what's actually going on. I'm just gonna jump right into it because I live in New York and I actually understand what's happening because I understand why the US is kind of going after BTC-E and not other exchanges. So in New York, you have to have a bit license in order to deal with Bitcoin exchanges, or exchanging for Bitcoin for any goods. So even if I have a store and I'm in New York, I have to have a bit license in order to trade my goods for Bitcoin. But really this law was to regulate the exchanges. It wasn't really made for maybe the little guys. It was actually designed around the exchange to restrict some of the exchanges. So the exchanges have to get the bit license to let New York residents trade in their, trade on their site. So Bittrex allows me to do that, and that's why I use only Bittrex, and I can't use something like Poloniex, because Poloniex actually kicked me out when they found out I was a New York user. Now, BTC-E, I actually originally traded on for the longest time, and I stored all my money on BTC-E, and, but like, I don't use it anymore, but BTC-E, what they just don't comply. They just weren't complying with, the bit license. Okay, so, Poloniex, didn't accept users from New York, and they didn't get the bit license, so they're okay, they're still following federal laws and state laws. But see, what happened was BTC-E was letting New York residents exchange their either Bitcoin for Ethereum or other coins for US dollars, which was against the law. And because it's in our jurisdiction, because we're New York residents, that's why BTC-E is getting fined right now, and it's all. I think it's because of New York strictly, but like they're making it look so ugly. Like the news, it is pretty ugly. Like that's a big fine. $100 million is not a little tiny amount of money. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Okay, so it's interesting. Maybe that's what that little dip was in the price. They had to sell off some. BTC-E had to sell off some Bitcoin. No, I'm playing. But like, it's just interesting news, and as far as affecting the price goes, I don't think this is going to affect the price at all. Like, I almost think when it comes to that, it's almost irrelevant, because it's just, I don't know, it's not that relevant. Because, I don't know, I'm not one person who needs to find reason with market movements. I think a lot of the time, the market's just moving healthily. It's a healthy market and it's moving naturally. So, when you hear crisis stories and then dips, and then, people looking to buy on your dip and all this stuff, it doesn't really make sense, So, I don't think this is good news for Bitcoin. I don't think it's terrible. BTC-E is actually down, which is, it's quite crazy that this is happening today. And they say also that BTC-E was linked to the was somehow linked to Mt. Gox and the hack that happened. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty surprising news that this came out. I think this is scarier than the freaking hard fork and soft fork shit for sure. So I think coin security is probably your most important thing right now. If you're on BTC-E, you gotta be going crazy right now because you're missing some coins. So I'm glad. I actually owned coin on there earlier this month, but I got it off the exchange. So yep. As far as price goes, I don't know, man. Who gives a shit anymore? Who gives a shit? All this crazy news. It's gonna go up, I think. There's only one way Bitcoin goes, and that's up. Alright, peace.